What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. It's CamJam here bringing you another video. And today's video is going to be about my top 5 coaching candidates for the Coach of the Year award that's given out at the end of the season. Before I get too deep into the video, I just want to remind you guys to like, comment, and subscribe. It would really help me out. It helps me out both for my videos, and it just makes me feel better about the videos I put out. So if you could, just make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. And let's get right into the video. My number 5 coaching candidate for the Coach of the Year award is Buffalo Bills head coach Sean McDermott. I chose Sean McDermott for my number 5 spot just because of the transition that the Buffalo Bills have taken from last year to this year, both with the improvement from Josh Allen from his second to third season. And really, not only did they meet the expectations of being the best team in the AFC East after Tom Brady left New England, but they probably have exceeded the expectations of many teams. The Buffalo Bills have beat some quality teams like the Rams. They've played pretty much up to expectations, like I said, and they've pretty much passed expectations, especially when you look at the fact that Josh Allen has been a MVP candidate after last year when he was kind of a middle-of-the-road quarterback. Everything put together, especially looking at the offensive side of the ball where McDermott kind of specializes, for me, that puts him in the Coach of the Year candidate at the number 5 spot. Next up at the number 4 spot, I have Andy Reid from the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, many people might think that this is kind of a low spot for Andy Reid. It doesn't have anything to do with the fact that the Chiefs lost yesterday against the Raiders, or I guess on Sunday to the Raiders. But it mostly has to do with the fact that I think when people are going to be voting on this award, when they compare him against the other 3 guys I have ahead of him, they're going to look at the fact that they have MVP Patrick Mahomes. They have a great running back in Clyde Edwards-Helaire. They've got a great receiving core between guys like Sammy Watkins, Tyreek Hill, Demarcus Robinson. And they've got a very good offensive line as well, not to mention their defense is pretty good as well. So I think many people, deservedly will give credit to the other guys on the offense and defense instead of giving credit to Andy Reid. At the same time, he's still one of the more respected coaches in the league. That's going to put him possibly even in the top 3 of the Coach of the Year voting at the end of the year. But I have him at the number 4 spot right now. Next up at the number 3 spot, I have head coach Pete Carroll of the Seattle Seahawks. He kind of is going to have the same problem that Andy Reid had. I mean, Russell Wilson has been far and away the MVP so far this year, especially when you look at the fact that Pete Carroll, he sides with the defensive side of the ball. That's kind of where he specializes. And the defense has been absolutely abysmal for the Seattle Seahawks. So I could see why he would be in the top 3. In fact, I have him as my number 3 guy. But I can also see why he would land as high as number 3 just because of the fact that the side of the ball that he specializes in is defense, and their defense has been completely terrible this year. So even though the Seahawks are undefeated, even though they possibly could be going to the Super Bowl and winning this year, I have Pete Carroll going in as my number 3 Coach of the Year candidate. Next up at the number 2 spot, I have head coach of the Green Bay Packers, Matt LaFleur. I think what LaFleur has been able to do with the Packers, especially given the fact that they drafted a quarterback in the first round when they already have Aaron Rodgers. They drafted a running back, I believe, in the second round when they already had Aaron Jones and Jamal Williams. What this Packers team has been able to do with Davante Adams missing a big chunk of the season already, LaFleur has an 85% winning percentage in his first 20 games as the Packers head coach. Going in, nobody really thought that he'd be able to win as many games as he has. And Aaron Rodgers is probably playing some of the best football of his career. And the Packers are at the top of their division. They're at the top of the conference right now. And there's not much more you can say about the Packers. They've just been winning every single game almost. And they're at the top of offensive categories. Aaron Rodgers is playing incredible. And when you look at who he was replacing in Mike McCarthy goes down to Dallas, and they're 2-3 right now. LaFleur has done nothing but flourish with the Green Bay Packers so far. So I have him as my number 2 candidate for Coach of the Year. Next up, with the number 1 Coach of the Year candidate at this point in the season, I have Kevin Stefanski, the head coach of the Cleveland Browns. I think we're going to be looking at the Kevin Stefanski hire at the end of the year as possibly the best coach that Cleveland has hired in maybe the past 20 to 30 years, due to the fact that he's already 4-1. That's the best Cleveland has started a season in I don't even know how many years. But Cleveland is above and beyond any expectations that people set for them at the beginning of the year. They're above probably any expectations that they might have set themselves. He's been able to unlock Odell Beckham Jr. and Jarvis Landry in the passing game. He's been able to take Baker Mayfield, and even though Baker still makes some questionable decisions, he's able to make Baker Mayfield be a guy who can lead the Cleveland Browns offense to successful drives, long successful drives that don't always end in touchdowns, but usually end up putting points on the board. And they're 4-1. They've played very good teams so far. They had a rough first game against the Baltimore Ravens, but considering the fact that Kevin Stefanski, it's his first year as the Cleveland Browns head coach, he didn't have a real training camp, he didn't have a preseason. All of those factors going into it, what he's been able to do with the Cleveland Browns, both offensively and as a team in general, would land him as the #1 Coach of the Year candidate in my book. With all that being said, that's going to be the video from me. I hope you all enjoyed it. If you did, make sure you leave a like, comment, and subscribe. It really helps me out, and it makes me feel better about the content that I put out to you guys. And I'll see you in the next video. Peace.